Hello, and thank you for tuning in to this edition of Nequa Connection. I'm your host, Alex Diener, and then with me, my guest, Mr. Thomas. Hi, Mr. Thomas.
Hello.
Now, what is your occupation?
My occupation is pharmaceutical sales representative.
Okay, and what is your typical day like in that job?
Typically, I'll see 8 to 10 primary care physicians, maybe a few cardiologists, nurse practitioners, physician assistants, and the entire team of network physicians and staff at various hospitals and doctor's offices.
So you work with big amounts of people, big groups of people at a time?
Yes, typically we'll see anywhere from 20 to 30 people per day. It's important to meet with the entire staff so they understand the products and services that we offer them.
Okay, and what are like some of your biggest challenges in your job?
These days, the biggest challenge is finding time for the doctors and their staffs to see us, because doctors and the nurses and the physician assistants and their staffs are so busy. They have a lot of pressure to see as many patients as possible. Although quality is very important for them as well, they still have time frames that are very tight that they have to work within. So finding an opportunity to meet with them is the biggest challenge these days.
And so you sell medication, right, to these doctors. And so what do these medications you're selling treat?
Yeah, the medications that I have currently, me and my team, are medications for patients with type 2 diabetes, medications for patients with atrial fibrillation, which is an irregular heartbeat, for patients that have deep vein thrombosis, pulmonary embolism. Those are clots within the body that move to the lung area. Also for patients that have hip surgery, knee surgery, one of our medications helps those patients prevent blood clots. So after they have surgery, they'll take our medication to thin the blood a little bit.
Okay, so when you interact with the doctors, like, are you meeting with them? Are you planning meetings? Or are you just like finding them and pitching a sale to them?
Typically, we'll have lunches scheduled to meet with customers. That's when they have the most time. Also, we'll have a dinner program with customers, doctors, and nurse practitioners, physician assistants as well, in the evening when they have more time. But also during the day, we'll try and get maybe 2 or 3 minutes with them in between the time when they're meeting with patients to have a dialogue about their patients and their disease state and how our medications can help them.
So do you like give presentations to the people at the lunches and the dinners and stuff?
Absolutely. We do have presentations. Sometimes it's formal, depending on where we are in the stage of how much that team of healthcare professionals understands the product that we have. If we just when we launch a new product, we'll spend a lot more time presenting to the healthcare professional team versus a product that's been available for a while, because at that point in time they'll understand how the medication works, and we'll have more of a dialogue versus a presentation. So we'll have more two-way conversation dialogue in that scenario, because they'll be more familiar with how the product works, and then they'll just have to understand where the best fit is for that medication for some of their patients.
Oh, okay. So what did you study in college? Did you study like business or?
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I was a business major. Okay. I was a marketing major, undergrad, and at that point in time, I didn't know that I'd end up being in pharmaceutical sales, because it's a more science-oriented career. But the good thing about this position is they are open to a variety, a diverse group of candidates in terms of their majors. You don't have to be a pharmacist or a nurse to get this position. You can have a number of different degrees and still be a good fit.
So what do you think it takes to be successful with this job?
I think primarily because you don't have someone following you around all day long. You have to like autonomy, and you have to be disciplined. I don't know if I would have been able to do this job well right out of undergrad. I don't know if I had the maturity at that time, honestly. But if you like autonomy, where somebody's not telling you what to do every single day, you have a marketing plan, you have a sales plan, you have an expense and budget plan that you have to follow. And if you can do that and just make sure that you see your customers every day as you should, you don't sleep late and you don't come home early, then you can be successful. So you really have to be self-driven and really enjoy science and really enjoy interacting with doctors and their staffs.
So when you go and meet with these doctors, is there like a specific area that you go to, like specific territory that you find doctors in and pitch a sale to?
Yeah, absolutely. We are given a territory, part of Chicagoland. Each of us will have a part of Chicagoland, for example, and our territories are typically very large. We'll have about 150 doctors within our territory. It'll stretch out maybe 50 miles east, west, north, and south, 50 miles in each direction on average. And with over 100 customers, 150 customers on average we'll have to see. So yes, it's a large territory. We're given that, so it's not any cold calling involved. We know who we're supposed to see and what we're supposed to talk about.
Okay, so when you, for the territory, are you the only one in charge of your territory, or are there multiple people?
Oh, well, that's a good question, because a lot of positions you're only responsible for that territory. A lot of pharmaceutical companies now will have several pharmaceutical reps being responsible for that particular territory. Not 100% overlap, but usually about 80 to 90% overlap. So it's very important to understand that and coordinate and work very well with your other team members, so we understand what the customer's needs are, what their questions are. And as we get information from those interactions from the customers, we can share that information with the other team members. So when they go in to see the doctor the next time, they'll know what his concern is or what his or her question may be.
So, do you ever like travel anywhere or like anywhere outside of Illinois?
We do have regional meetings and national meetings, usually once every 3-4 months or so. So there is some travel involved, but not a lot of travel. So once a quarter or so, we'll have to go somewhere in the region, or a lot of meetings out in California. So it depends on which meeting is we're going to have, whether it's regional or national, which will determine where we're going to meet.
So what do you think is the best or worst experience you've had with a customer or trying to pitch a sale?
Well, I think probably the worst scenario was one time when I had my manager with me and the customer didn't really have any time. And this was when I was new in the process. I was new to this position, and I didn't understand the magnitude of how busy customers were. And so I wanted to talk to that customer, and he was just extremely busy, and it was raining outside. As a matter of fact, he was going inside to his office, and I caught him outside with his umbrella. And he told me, when I saw him the next time, he said, well, I was pretty busy that time. Just always make sure you come see me inside the office and make sure I have plenty of time. So understanding the verbal cues from the customers, understanding what they're saying, and if the waiting room is full of patients, in those situations, you may not want to talk to the customer that day because they may be extremely busy. Good scenario, best scenario, going to see a customer. My coworker told me that he was concerned about bleeding with a medication. I addressed that concern right away, and he was very impressed that we were working as a team, and I knew exactly what his concern was when I went to see him on that particular afternoon.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us today. That's all the time we have today for An Equal Connection. I'm your host, Alex Diener, and this is Mr. Thomas. Have a good day.
Thank you.